She left the world quietly, but it has never stopped talking about her. When Marilyn Monroe's life ended, the noise didn't fade, it grew louder. In the years that followed, her presence refused to disappear. Posters stayed on walls, her face remained in magazines, her voice echoed through old films. Time moved forward, yet Marilyn stayed exactly where she was. Frozen, iconic, unfinished. Her legacy was not carefully planned. It wasn't built through control or strategy. It emerged from contradiction, strength and vulnerability, confidence and fear, glamour and loneliness existing at the same time. That duality is why she endured. Marilyn became more than an actress. She became a symbol of beauty, of desire, of fame's promise, and eventually of its cost. People saw different things in her depending on what they were searching for. Some saw fantasy, some saw tragedy, some saw themselves. Her image shaped culture in ways few could predict. Fashion echoed her style for decades. Music referenced her name. Art borrowed her face. Advertisements recycled her silhouette. Even generations who never saw her films recognized her instantly. Recognition without understanding became part of the legacy. For a long time, the world reduced her to appearance: blonde hair, red lips, a dress caught in the wind. But slowly, the narrative began to shift. Curiosity replaced certainty. Questions replaced assumptions. Who was she really? What did she want? What did fame take from her? Those questions opened space for a deeper legacy. Marilyn's struggles, once mocked, became conversation starters. Mental health, media pressure, the treatment of women in power, the cost of turning people into products. Her life became a case study long after it became a headline. She unintentionally gave future generations language for pain they had felt but couldn't name. Artists began to reference her not as a fantasy, but as a warning, as inspiration, as proof that sensitivity and strength can coexist, that beauty does not protect, that talent does not guarantee safety. Her influence extended beyond entertainment. She changed how fame is discussed, how vulnerability is understood, how society questions its obsession with perfection. The very things that made her life difficult made her legacy powerful. Marilyn also left behind something quieter: permission. Permission to be complex, to be fragile and ambitious, to be intelligent and misunderstood, to struggle openly. Women especially found resonance in her story: the pressure to perform, to please, to fit a role created by others. Marilyn's life exposed that tension long before the world was ready to address it. She became a mirror. Each era saw her differently. In one decade, she was glamour. In another, tragedy. Later, resilience. Today, she is often seen as all of it at once. The legacy evolved as society matured. Yet some things never changed. The mystery remains. Not the mystery of how she died, but of who she might have become, what roles she would have chosen, what voice she would have claimed, what peace might have looked like if time had been kinder. That unanswered future keeps her present. Marilyn's story refuses closure. It invites reflection instead. It asks uncomfortable questions about responsibility, about empathy, about how easily admiration turns into exploitation. Her legacy lives not because she was perfect, but because she was real in a world that demanded illusion.
She reminds us that fame amplifies everything: talent, desire, fear, pain, and that without protection, amplification can destroy. Even now, decades later, people speak her name softly, with fascination, with sadness, with recognition. She is remembered not just for what she was, but for what she represented: a warning, a symbol, a voice that never got enough time to speak fully. And perhaps that is why her legacy endures. Because Marilyn Monroe didn't just leave behind films and photographs. She left behind a question the world still hasn't answered. How many lives are we willing to consume before we learn to truly see them? That question lingers, and it ensures she is never forgotten.